Seniors, never eat these 4 nuts. Add these 4 for brain and heart health. Have you ever sat down in the afternoon, maybe after your daily walk or your favorite old movie, and reached for a small bowl of mixed nuts? It's a quiet comfort, isn't it? That little crunch, that familiar taste, it feels like such a harmless pleasure. For many of us, it's become a ritual, something we trust, something that makes us feel like we're doing the right thing for our health. But what if I told you, not all nuts are as harmless as they seem, especially after the age of 65 over the years. I've listened to hundreds of patients tell me they're trying to eat healthier. They cut back on sugar, they cook more at home, and often they swap processed snacks for healthy nuts. Yet still, their joints ache, their memory feels fuzzy, and their medications don't always work the same, and so many of them wonder why. The answer, sometimes, lies in the very foods we think are helping us. So today, I want to gently walk with you through a conversation, one rooted in science, but spoken with care. Let's take a closer look at 4 types of nuts that may quietly do more harm than good for older adults. Come with me. Let's explore this together. Part 1. Nuts that harm the body. After 65, 1. Peanuts, a familiar face with a hidden risk. You've probably been eating peanuts your whole life. Maybe they were part of your lunchbox as a child, or a comfort snack during long road trips. And for many seniors, a spoonful of peanut butter on toast feels like a safe, protein-rich habit. But the truth is, especially after 65, peanuts can quietly become a source of harm more than healing. Here's why. Despite their name, peanuts aren't true nuts. They're legumes, growing underground instead of on trees. This makes them more vulnerable to mold contamination, especially during storage. And that mold can produce aflatoxins, a type of natural toxin that, when consumed repeatedly over time, may strain the liver and increase cancer risk. For younger adults with strong detox systems, this might not be noticeable. But for seniors whose liver function and cellular repair naturally slow down, that burden adds up silently. Peanuts are also packed with omega-6 fatty acids. Now, fats aren't the enemy, but balance is key. We need a steady ratio of omega-3 to omega-6 for heart, brain, and joint health. Too much omega-6, which many processed foods already contain in excess, creates a breeding ground for chronic inflammation, the kind that worsens arthritis, fogs memory, and puts stress on the cardiovascular system. I recall one patient, Mr. Day, who came to me in his late 70s with persistent joint pain. His labs were unremarkable, and he walked daily, stayed active, but he ate peanut butter every single morning. We made one simple change, switching his spread to almond butter and adding a few walnuts twice a week. Within a month, his pain eased by almost half. And there's another overlooked concern: vitamin K in peanuts. Many seniors are on blood thinners like warfarin. Vitamin K can interfere with these medications, making your treatment less effective or, worse, unpredictable. It's a risk that's often ignored in casual nutrition advice. Even natural peanut butter can be a trap. Many brands add salt, sugar, or hydrogenated oils that spike blood pressure, burden your heart, and contribute to weight gain. And dry roasted peanuts. They often contain acrylamides, a compound linked to cognitive decline in some studies, especially worrying as we try to protect memory in our later years. If you truly enjoy peanuts, I'm not here to take that joy from you, but I do encourage moderation and consider rotating in walnuts or almonds a few days a week. You might be surprised how your joints, your mood, and even your sleep respond. 2. Cashews. Soft texture, hard consequences. Cashews have a way of charming us. They're buttery, slightly sweet, and somehow feel more premium than other nuts. They're in your trail mix, your favorite stir-fry, maybe even that dairy-free cheese you tried last month. But for seniors, Cashews bring more risk than reward, especially when consumed regularly. One of the biggest concerns is blood sugar. Cashews contain nearly 9 grams of carbohydrates per ounce and relatively little fiber to slow the absorption. For those managing type 2 diabetes or even prediabetes, a category that includes nearly half of older Americans, that sugar rush can be dangerous. I once sat with a patient, a retired teacher in her mid-60s, who couldn't understand why her morning sugar levels were rising, despite avoiding obvious sweets. Her evening snack, a small bowl of cashews. We swapped them out for a few pistachios and a square of dark chocolate, and her numbers improved within 2 weeks. Cashews also carry a physical risk. Their soft, crescent shape makes them easy to swallow without chewing, which can pose a choking hazard for seniors with dry mouth, dental issues, or weakened swallowing reflexes. I've had patients share stories of coughing fits or even hospital visits after an innocent handful. Beyond that, cashews are high in oxalates, a natural compound that can bind with calcium and contribute to kidney stones and even worsen bone density loss. That's deeply concerning, especially for seniors already navigating osteoporosis or chronic kidney issues. And here's something few people know: cashews are in the same botanical family as poison ivy. That's why they must be steamed and processed before hitting store shelves to remove a skin-irritating toxin. But that processing also strips away nutrients, leaving a nut that's calorie-rich but nutrient-light. Even worse, cashews contain macadamias come with a burden that's not always visible on the surface. Let's start with the numbers. Just 1 ounce of macadamia nuts contains over 200 calories and 22 grams of fat. For someone in their 30s with a fast metabolism, that may be manageable. But after 65, our metabolic rate slows naturally. The body becomes more efficient, yes, but also more conservative in burning off excess calories. I remember a man in his late 60s who was frustrated because he couldn't lose the 10 pounds he had gained since retiring. He walked every morning, ate home-cooked meals, and didn't drink soda, but he snacked on macadamia nuts in the afternoons. He didn't realize that those handfuls added hundreds of extra calories each week, quietly tipping the scale upward. And it's not just about weight. Macadamias are high in saturated fat, which can elevate LDL cholesterol, the kind that clogs arteries and increases the risk of heart attacks. While the debate about good versus bad saturated fats continues in nutrition circles, the safest route for seniors is caution, especially if you already have high cholesterol, a family history of heart disease, or are on statins. These nuts also pose a risk to your teeth. Their firmness can challenge even healthy molars. But for seniors with crowns, bridges, or brittle enamel, macadamias can chip or crack expensive dental work. I've seen more than one patient end up in the dentist's chair after a healthy snack gone wrong. Even more concerning is quality. Because macadamias are expensive, some manufacturers cut corners selling them roasted in refined vegetable oils or adding excess salt to extend shelf life. These oils often go rancid, producing oxidized fats that increase systemic inflammation. That's the same type of slow-burning inflammation that worsens arthritis, fogs memory, and accelerates aging in tissues throughout the body. So, what's the alternative? Pistachios, especially those still in their shells, offer a similar satisfaction with far fewer calories and a better fat profile. They're rich in antioxidants, promote eye and blood vessel health, and their built-in shell slows down mindless eating. You get flavor, satisfaction, and health all in one handful. Aging well isn't about deprivation, it's about knowing where the quiet traps are and stepping around them with grace. 4. Pine nuts, the smallest nut, the biggest risk. They look so delicate. Don't they? Pine nuts, often sprinkled on salads, blended into pesto, or added to gourmet grain bowls, seem like they belong in the safe category. But beneath their innocent appearance is a cluster of risk that most people, especially seniors, never see coming. First and foremost, pine nuts can interact with more than 60% of prescription medications. statins, antidepressants, blood pressure pills. If you're over 65, chances are you're taking at least one of these. Pine nuts contain bioactive compounds that may alter how your body metabolizes those medications. That means unpredictable effects, sometimes making the medication stronger, sometimes making it weaker. Either way, your carefully balanced regimen can suddenly feel off. There's also something called pine mouth syndrome. Have you ever eaten something and hours later noticed a strange, bitter, metallic taste in your mouth that just wouldn't go away? That's pine mouth. It can last for days or even weeks. For seniors already dealing with reduced taste or appetite, this can be devastating. Appetite drops, enjoyment of food declines. And that, in turn, leads to unintentional weight loss, which is one of the most dangerous trends we see in older adults. That's not all. Pine nuts are high in unstable fats, meaning they oxidize quickly. When oxidized fats enter your system, they create inflammatory byproducts. These molecules don't just irritate your joints, they're suspected in accelerating macular degeneration, the leading cause of vision loss in people over 65. Imagine gradually losing your eyesight over the years, partly because of a garnish you thought was healthy. And like cashews, pine nuts are slippery. Their small, slick shape makes them a choking hazard, especially for seniors with dry mouth or those on medications that reduce saliva production. One quick inhale or misswallow, and what was meant to nourish can become a medical emergency. They're also calorie-dense, and when blended into sauces like pesto, that richness gets amplified by the addition of oils and cheese. A spoonful here and there adds up fast, especially when you're trying to keep your weight or cholesterol in check. If you enjoy the creamy texture or nutty flavor pine nuts offer, consider using sunflower seeds or chopped almonds instead. They're safer, more stable, and far less likely to interfere with your medication or your appetite. It's not about fear, it's about awareness. You deserve to enjoy your food and protect your body at the same time. Part 2. The right nuts for the right season of life. We've spent time uncovering the hidden risks in peanuts, cashews, macadamias, and pine nuts, not to scare you, but to give your body the respect and attention it deserves. Now, let's turn our gaze towards something more hopeful, the kinds of nuts that can nourish you, protect you, and even help you age with greater strength, clarity, and peace. Because the truth is, your body is still listening. Even now, even in your 70s, 80s, or 90s, the right nutrients, given consistently and lovingly, still make a difference. Let me show you the nuts I recommend most often to my older patients, not because they're trendy, but because they work. 1. Walnuts, the brain's gentle guardian. If I could choose just one nut to recommend to my older patients, it would be the walnut. Why? Because walnuts are uniquely rich in plant-based omega-3 fatty acids, specifically alpha-linolenic acid ALA. This fatty acid helps cool chronic inflammation throughout the body, including in the blood vessels of the heart and brain. Several studies have linked regular walnut consumption to improved memory, reduced cognitive decline, and even lower risk of developing Alzheimer's disease. One long-term observational study found that older adults who ate just a handful of walnuts a few times a week performed better on memory tests than those who didn't. That's not coincidence. The brain is largely made of fat, and when we give it healthy, anti-inflammatory fats like those in walnuts, it functions more clearly and consistently. Beyond the brain, walnuts also support heart health by improving cholesterol balance, reducing oxidative stress, and supporting better circulation. For seniors with joint pain, the anti-inflammatory properties of walnuts can bring quiet relief, helping the body move with less resistance. They also provide protein and fiber, which means they're a filling snack that stabilizes blood sugar instead of spiking it. That's critical for older adults managing diabetes or insulin resistance. I often suggest my patients add crushed walnuts to their morning oatmeal or toss a few into a spinach salad. They blend beautifully with savory or sweet foods, and your body thanks you for the kindness. 2. Almonds, the heart's steady companion. If walnuts protect the brain, almonds are the quiet champions of the heart. These pale, crescent-shaped nuts are loaded with vitamin E, a powerful antioxidant that shields your cells from oxidative damage. That includes the cells lining your blood vessels, which are vulnerable to wear and tear as we age. Vitamin E also supports skin elasticity, helping your hands and face maintain moisture and softness in drier, older skin. Almonds are rich in monounsaturated fats, the same kind found in olive oil. These fats have been shown to lower LDL bad cholesterol and support HDL good cholesterol, creating a more stable, heart-protective environment in your bloodstream. They're also an excellent source of magnesium, a mineral that quietly supports over 300 bodily functions, including muscle health, blood sugar regulation, and even sleep quality. For seniors who struggle with cramps, insomnia, or prediabetes, that's no small thing. I had a patient, a retired school principal, who swapped out his mid-morning crackers for a small palmful of almonds. Within 6 weeks, his cholesterol dropped 12 points, and he told me he felt more energized by lunchtime. If you're unsure how to include them, try almond slices in Greek yogurt, almond flour in homemade pancakes, or simply a few whole almonds alongside a piece of fruit. Just 8-10 almonds can do more for your body than a shelf full of supplements. 3. Pistachios, the balanced friend with a cheerful shell. Among all the nuts, pistachios bring something unique not just in taste or texture, but in behavioral benefit. Why? Because they come in a shell. That small detail changes everything. Having to crack open each nut slows down your eating pace, creating a natural sense of mindfulness and portion control. You feel satisfied with less, which is a gift for those managing weight or blood sugar. But pistachios aren't just about behavior, they're nutritional powerhouses. They're lower in calories than most nuts, rich in potassium and B vitamins, and contain resveratrol, a compound also found in red wine that supports cardiovascular health. They're also a good source of plant-based protein, which is so important as we age. After 65, we begin losing muscle more rapidly, a process called sarcopenia. Eating adequate protein in small, steady doses throughout the day helps maintain strength, balance, and independence. I often recommend pistachios as an afternoon snack. They're satisfying without being heavy, and their natural saltiness makes them a smart substitute for chips or crackers. You can also sprinkle them over roasted vegetables, blend them into hummus, or mix them with dried tart cherries for a delicious, heart-healthy trail mix. Bringing it all together, the Senior Smart Snack. If you want a simple formula to follow, here's what I often tell my patients. 1 small handful, about 1 ounce of nuts per day, is enough. That's roughly 7 walnuts, 10-12 almonds, or 15 pistachios. Rotate the types throughout the week to get a spectrum of nutrients. Pair nuts with fiber or protein like fresh fruit, yogurt, or oatmeal to create balance and avoid blood sugar spikes. And always listen to your body. What digests easily? What leaves you feeling light and nourished? In my years of practice, I've seen patients transform their energy, cognition, and even lab results by making this one gentle change: choosing the right nuts at the right time. These choices, made with care, are more than nutrition. They're acts of self-respect, of love for the only body we've ever had. Because aging isn't about shrinking our lives. It's about deepening them. It's not about removing joy, but refining it, honoring what truly supports our journey forward. If this message touched you, if it gave you a new perspective, I invite you to share it with someone else who might need it. Maybe it's your spouse, your neighbor, or a dear friend still reaching for that peanut butter jar without knowing the full story. And if you feel called, leave me a note in the comments. Tell me, what nut do you enjoy most these days? What small changes are you making in your meals? Let's keep walking this road together softly, wisely, one thoughtful choice at a time. I'll be here when you need me. Until then, take care of your heart, your mind, and your beautiful aging body.